What's up, my hippies? It's me, Emily, and today we're going to be talking about weird movie and TV show conspiracy theories. So the first one I want to talk about is really interesting. It's that Aladdin was actually set in the future instead of the past. And this one's actually one that I kind of do believe in. If you look at the evidence supporting this theory, it says that Genie, who is voiced by Robin Williams, R.I.P. by the way, so sad, I miss him. This is like one of my favorite characters ever, but the Genie's voiced by Robin Williams, and he does impersonate people like Jack Nicholson, Rodney Dangerfield, Groucho Marx, and none of those people would have existed back in those times if it were set in the past. It's also really interesting because when Aladdin is trying on clothes, the genie comments on them saying they're so 3rd century, which I think is very interesting as well. But there's also one more piece of evidence to support this theory, is that the genie has been locked away for thousands of years. So if he has been locked away for thousands of years, we're probably talking about them being in the future, right? I would assume that. Obviously it would have to be an apocalyptic future because, you know, they don't have like buildings and towers and everything like that. And the magic carpet, it's probably just like a hover device that has been passed down through centuries. So maybe it's like an older model hoverboard or something like that. There is another theory about Aladdin, and it's that the whole entire story is just told by the guy in the beginning who's trying to sell the lamp, which that actually makes a lot of sense, and that's fucked if that's true. Like, if you watch the whole entire movie just for that to be a story told by a guy selling a lamp, that's just messed up. But I could really see how that would be like the basis of the entire story. It makes sense that he would elaborate on this just to sell like a genie lamp. I think that one's like the more interesting theory rather than it being set in the future. So the next theory is actually about Willy Wonka, and I loved this movie as a kid. Don't get me wrong, this movie is like my favorite movie ever. Like, every single time we went to go to the video store and rent a movie, I would want Willy Wonka. And even when the new one came out, I love the new one just as much as the original. So I really do have like a deep connection with this movie. This conspiracy theory is quite crazy to me. And the conspiracy theory is that the children in the movie are the secret ingredient to Willy Wonka's chocolate. That's dark. Like, if you're actually gonna use children in your chocolate to make it taste better and to sell, like, that's messed up. Who does that? But it's creepy to like think about, because if you look at the movie and the way the kids like disappear, it kind of is sketchy. Like when Augustus gets sucked up into the tube, that there's no like breathing holes or anything like that, so he's either going to suffocate or die from like the blood like rushing to his head because it's like sucking him, you know? So most likely he died. And Violet, when she blows up like a balloon and they say they're going to juice her, that sounds like they're just going to, you know, squeeze her. To me, it sounds as dark as like popping her, you know what I mean? Like, and having her just like explode everywhere. Like, that's what I think of when I think of juicing. So in my eyes, Violet probably didn't make it out of there alive either. And then you have Mike. He's like this big, right? He like shrinks down to like the size of a grasshopper. So if they're going to stretch him, he's also probably not going to make it, and if he does, he'd probably suffer really severe damages to his body if he's being stretched out. So then you have Veruga, and she's the one that got like sucked down into like the little egg department, and if you listen to the way that she screams when she's falling, it's actually not like a short drop. Like, you can hear her screaming like all the way down. So like there's high chances that that tube either goes to like a waste factory and she could just be like tossed out, or there's a really high chance that she could have died during the fall, which is pretty dark as well, considering this is a children's movie. But we're just thinking logically here, right? And then the worst one is actually Charlie and his grandpa. Like, seriously, they drank those little floating drinks and they went flying in the ceiling, and there's a fan up there. Now, if they hadn't started burping, can you imagine them just getting massacred by these giant fans? Like, that is sick. That is so sick. I cannot imagine that actually happening. It's like the fact that like they were like literally this close to being splattered all over the nice, beautiful walls of the soda room is just insane for like a children's movie. But like the theory goes that like all of these children are like the secret ingredients of the chocolate, and like if Wonka has them in his workshop and he can kill them there, then they're just gonna get mixed into the chocolate and his candies, and that's the secret ingredient. And that's crazy. That theory messes with my mind, honestly. Alright, so the next theory is about Mary Poppins. Now, I don't watch Doctor Who. I've maybe seen like a couple episodes of it, but I'm not like a big Doctor Who fan. But the next theory is that Mary Poppins is a Time Lord. It suggests because she dresses like a doctor and that she carries a TARDIS bag. I'm not really sure like what that is relating to Doctor Who, but I'm guessing it has something to do with her briefcase, because when she's like pulling everything out, it just like never ends. It also suggests that she can bend space and time. I guess she can. She can like, there's like a scene where like she can like manipulate things and stuff like that. I'm not really sure how it would relate to Doctor Who. I mean, I could probably see like the resemblance of it. In my mind though, it's more like she has like magical powers, like she's magic. I don't really think of her being like a Time Lord or being like related to Doctor Who. But if you guys are big Doctor Who fans, let me know in the comments below if you feel that Mary Poppins' character relates closely to someone from like Doctor Who or from Doctor Who himself. So the next theory that I have, sorry, my hair keeps getting in my face, so if you see me just brushing my face off, it's because my hair is always so staticky and I'm wearing a hat. Anyways, the next theory is about the Titanic, and this one's pretty messed up as well. It's that Jack never existed and he's just a figment of Rose's imagination. Some evidence to support this theory is that he shows up just like randomly as Rose is about to jump off the ship. Like he just kind of just is there, you know. He kind of like talks her down and like helps her like come back and not kill herself. Also, he's always just around to like make her feel happy and like encourage her throughout the movie. He's also the complete opposite of the guy, Cal, I think his name is Cal, that, you know, is romantically invested in her originally. So he's like the exact opposite of him. Like he's not high class at all. He's kind of just like an average Joe, kind of gets into a little bit of mischief. And I feel like maybe he's just like an alter persona of Rose, someone that she wishes that she could be. She kind of uses the figment of Jack to escape from her high-class fancy life and from being with this guy Cal that she really is not interested in. Also, it does support the theory on why he wouldn't have lived at the end of the movie. If there was plenty of room on the damn door, then why didn't he jump up? You know, maybe it's because he was not actually real. You know, even though like the ship went down and like a lot of other people were affected by the ship actually sinking in the movie, maybe for her it was like a sign of freedom and she was actually able to break away from like her family and all the high class status and everything that it wasn't her, everything that she was kind of made to be throughout her life. And maybe like the ship sinking and Jack dying was like a representation of just her actually like being free and being alive and being able to start her life over on her terms. Also, at the end of the movie, when they're kind of looking back on everything and the investigators are going through like the ship, they were telling her that there was no signs that Jack was ever on board and no boarding passes, no signs of him, and Rose says something along the lines of, yeah, he only exists in my memory. So that kind of also like supports the theory that maybe he wasn't actually a real person. It is a really interesting theory to think about though. I'm not sure if like I would want that to be true. I don't think that anyone has made that statement official that that theory is true or not. I kind of like the idea of Jack being a real person. I mean, it's Leonardo DiCaprio. Come on, he is so sexy. Like, to think that his character is not real breaks my heart, okay? I can't live with that. Jack is real. End of story. I don't believe this theory, but it is interesting. Alright, so since I'm wearing my Stranger Things merch today, we're gonna talk about some Stranger Things. Now, this is not a movie, but it is a TV TV show, and it is accessible on Netflix. So you can technically make it into a movie because you can watch the whole season in one night. Let me tell you, I have done that twice already. The first one is that the Upside Down is Hawkins in the future, that it's like an apocalyptic world and that it shows the future of what Hawkins will be. That one is crazy to me. I really hope that's not true, because when I look at Hawkins, I think of like a nice homey small town, and then when you look at the Upside Down, it's like filled with just so many like crazy creatures, and it's just very sketchy. That would mean that something really terrible would have happened to turn Hawkins into the Upside Down, and what would be the point of showing certain people what the Upside Down looks like if it was just gonna turn Hawkins into that anyways? In my opinion, I think that the Upside Down is just another dimension, that it's not Hawkins in the future. It's like a mirror of Hawkins that kind of just has some oddities going around in it, and I think that's kind of like what the majority of the fans think of. So I think maybe we'll find out later like why the Upside Down is in Hawkins and why they chose to like put it there and like open up that dimension and that portal there. We won't really find that out until later on in the series, and I cannot wait for the third season to come out. I'm so excited. I just want it to be October already. Come on now. Alright, so the last theory that I'm going to talk about, and it's the last one for this video today, is that Will Byers is now part monster. This theory does make a lot of sense, because if you look at the beginning of season 2, I know, I'm sorry, I'm giving kind of like spoilers, but I'm just assuming that if you're a Stranger Things fan, you've already seen season 2. You know, it's on Netflix, it's readily available to everybody. If you haven't watched it, please watch it. It's amazing. I love that show. It's one of my favorite shows to watch. But anyways, I'm going to be giving a little bit of spoilers. So in the beginning of season 2, you see Will in the bathroom when he's like coughing up what looks like a sluggish creature. I don't really know. It's like some kind of like alien-ish slime, and that kind of like sets the tone for season 2. So maybe, and like if you've seen the season, if you've seen how like Will getting stuck in the Upside Down in the first season affects him in season 2, then you know that like you can tell something is binded to him. He has like binds to the Upside Down. He basically feels all of the feelings of the Upside Down from actually being there, and like maybe something had just entered his body while he was there, and that's most likely what the situation is right now. But what it's saying is that he's actually part monster, so he could possibly turn into like a villain or like a monstrous type character later on in the seasons as the show progresses. Now, personally, I would think that would be terrible. I think of Will as like such a sweet little boy, and I just love his family so much. So for him to actually be the one to turn into like a monster or into a villain or like a demogorgon or something crazy like that, that just like makes me so sad, because I love him so much. He's one of my favorite characters on this show, and I think it would just be like a really extreme plot twist if that were to happen. But it definitely could. Like, that is definitely a possibility at this point, because we kind of don't know how, if he's actually fully healed from everything. You know, they went through the end of the season and they kind of like healed him, but we don't actually know, you know, what his future holds from here on out. For all we know, this could affect him his whole entire life, and that is so heartbreaking to me. Like, I can imagine him having to deal with all of these feelings and emotions and being tied to this awful place his whole entire life. Now, what I think would be really, really interesting is if he kind of like morphed into like a superhuman rather than a monster, because I don't know. Do you guys think that he's just like such a sweet little boy? Like, I just want to like take him home and squeeze him and like tell him that everything is gonna be okay, because he's such a sweet boy. And like, for him to have to go through what he went through, being away from his mom, being away from his brother and all of his friends, and he's just stuck all by himself with all these monsters and he can't get home, and then to have to deal with like the side effects of actually being stuck in the Upside Down. Like, how unfair is that to him? That's so sad. And I know I'm like putting all these like actual human feelings into a TV show character, but for him to turn into a monster, that would just break my heart. I cannot deal with that. There's no way. I don't want that theory to be true, so I really hope it's not. I'd rather see him turn into like an awesome like person with superpowers or something, like 11, because she's badass. I love her. Anyways guys, I think that's gonna be all for this video. If you guys did like this video, give it a thumbs up and comment below. Let me know if you want me to look into any other movies. I love conspiracy theories. I also love movies. I love music. I love all of that. I love TV shows. So if I can do conspiracy theories on TV shows and movies and music, like those are my top 4 favorite things. Music, movies, TV shows. 3? Conspiracy theories. That is 4. Anyways guys, I do appreciate you guys watching this video. Like I said, if you do have suggestions for any future conspiracy theories, comment them down below. Or any other videos that you guys would like to see, just let me know down below and I will see if they are interesting to me. I do appreciate you guys watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Goodbye.